Okay, so this will either, if all goes well, I will upload this video as a bonus video on my main channel. If I can't accomplish that after doing research, I find out I can't do that, then it will be uploaded on my second channel as a kind of like, oh, I didn't mean to do that, or as a more or less as a, I wonder how many people who are on my main channel have migrated to here, and they'll be like, hey, you do comic calls, that's kind of cool. So either way, it could argue it's a bonus video, or let's do it on a third channel. That's not the worst idea. I do have a third channel. You know what? I'm gonna do that. Third channel. Boom. So this is not a re-upload of what I've already done, but I am showing comics I've already shown off. So more books came in since Wednesday's video, and I'm not gonna do part 3. I don't want to do 3 parts. It's just gonna be 2 parts for this. I'm going to do, maybe I'll do, well, actually either way it's gonna be part 1 and part 2 because I'm on my third channel. But part 1 I wanted to be whatever books I had. I wanted to upload it before it got too late. And Wednesday kind of seemed like the perfect time to do it because I had enough books to show off, and none of them were like, oh, I got volume 2 but not volume 1. No, I had everything that I needed, so to speak. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with Nowheresville by Mark Ricketts, also drawn by Mark Ricketts. Crime noir, it also involves beatniks kind of thing. It sounded very strange, but it still sounded interesting enough. It's one of those things you hear about it and you can't pass it up, and you don't know why you can't pass it up, so you just decide to buy it. I did get this for $10 by the way. I also got this for $10 by the way. It was not full price, and it was from Amazon too, and it was last in stock too. So a lot of upsides to getting this book. And here's the artwork. It's noir. A lot like Sin City, but not as refined. The artwork is not as refined as it is with Sin City. Which is the only kind of... That's the only thing... When I was looking through the book on Amazon, I had seen that, oh, it's black and white. I kind of noticed that afterwards, and I was like, yeah, who cares? Black and white artwork is not a deal breaker for me. It's one thing that I would, like... If I had the choice between getting this book and getting that book, and say it was between Nowheresville and Spider-Man Volume 1, I would probably pick Spider-Man Volume 1 rather than Nowheresville because of the black and white artwork. I'd kind of be like, well, it's black and white artwork, but even then I can't say that would be a deal breaker. I'd probably try and get both if I could. Next up, we have Dioramas, a love story, also written by Mark Ricketts, and also, like with Nowheresville, it's an original graphic novel. What does that mean? That means it's not like collecting issues 1 through 6 of Dioramas or 1 through 6 of Nowheresville. It's just all in one. Now this one... Oh, sorry, that's what it's about. On the back here, I'm just going to read what it says on the back here. It says, the disturbing portrait of a serial killer and his muse. Diorama's a love story. So it sounds very interesting to me. I am a huge fan of crime comics. I say crime comics specifically because there are some crime books, like regular-ass books, like crime novels, that I was kind of, didn't hate, but I'm like, a good example is James Patterson. I've tried to read again James Patterson, I just cannot. And what's ironic is that my favorite author for books is Stephen King. My mom can't get into Stephen King. She likes James Patterson. I can't get into James Patterson, so it's kind of like it's kind of funny there. But as far as crime comics go, I have the best track record with them. I read a good amount of crime comics, and none of them I could say I hated. The only one that comes close is Richard Starks Parker, that was drawn by Darwyn Cooke, and ironically enough, it's a good segue into the artwork, which is very Darwyn Cooke inspired. Then we'll show you the artwork in the actual book itself. And the artwork here is done by... It's a weird name. The pencils and gray tones are done by Dario Brusella. The inks is done by Walter Andre Ponce and Dario Brusella. And the cover painting is done by Vince Locke. The dioramas done by Greg Spittler. Pinups are done by Mike Hawthorne, Galen Showman, and Rob Ullman. And then that's it. And the rest is like special thanks, a special website. Nothing that I find all that concerning to mention. I don't need to mention. It's getting weird, aren't I? And then... Sorry, I got confused. I got distracted there for a sec. So yes, original graphic novel, author-artist, I did that, showed out the artwork, told you guys what it was about, told you what the artwork is inspired by. But yeah, and I might give Richard, and the thing that I didn't like about Richard Tarks Parker, the Darwin Cookbook, I think it was just too novelized for me. It felt too much like a novel, not a comic book, and usually I don't usually mind that, but here I did. And it's very hard to explain. My dog barked the loudest bark ever in the world. I'm gonna put her in the Guinness Book of World Records and win $1 million. I could just send them this recording. There we go. I just hit my dog. Just maybe just made the Guinness Book of World Records the loudest bark. I hate that it's like such a shrill bark too. It's not like a more like deep bark. It's like a deep but shrill bark and deep but sharp bark. But anyways, Night Trippers, next book, is also, and she does it every time too. Like she knows who it is, and she'll still bark. So annoying. I almost said Eric's. Why do they say who the? Oh, because it's right here. But still, they tell you who the publisher is and president is before they tell you who it's written by. Technically, as it's on page 1, and here's page 2, telling you who it's written by. Night Trippers, written by Mark Ricketts and illustrated by Mika Ferrator. Now, Night Trippers sounded very strange. It's a serial killer obsessed with Elvis, and it was like a cult of vampires. All this really weird junk going on in this book, and it was done by Mark Ricketts, and I am a huge completist. If I find out, especially if it turns out that there's 5 books I need from an author, and I can afford to get all 5, and then get more along with that, like I did this time. I think it was 5, right? Yes, technically it's 5. So when I find that out, I'm like, yeah, screw it, let's get it. But if it's something like a good example is Mark Millar, I feel like I'll never have everything Mark Millar has done for Image Comics. I mean specifically for Image Comics. I don't think I mentioned that. Because I go by publisher nowadays. I have no way of affording to get more than just for one publisher. So I just stick to one publisher. And I don't mind doing that. So far, I've had a really good track record with Image Comics. Again, Image Comics has, for every dud, they have about five good books that you can pick up that I have never heard of or never read, and then maybe some I have, and then some I haven't. There's like every genre has its outstanding comic that everyone loves and its best thing ever from Image. At least one, maybe 2, I would even say. So yeah, that's Night Trippers, and yet again, it's a original graphic novel. I seem to be in a lot of these this time around. Now I'm pretty sure it's said, because some of the I'm not 100% sure that these are original graphic novels. In fact, one that the video I uploaded on Wednesday, I mistakenly said one of the books. It's not next. I mistakenly said that one of the books was an original graphic novel, and turns out it's not. But so far so good. Next up, we have Put the Book Back on the Shelf, a Belle and Sebastian anthology. Now, I don't usually get anthology books just purely based off the fact that, oh, this guy has written us a 5-page story in this anthology series. But I was going to get this book anyways. Oh, I didn't show what the book was. Sorry. Put the book back on the shelf. It's a Belle and Sebastian anthology. And maybe I don't know. I did it. Mark Ricketts does write, and Mark Ricketts writes a story in here. For those who are wondering who it was. And let's see how many pages it is. Alright, so it was right here. 153 to 159. So yeah, 5-page story. I don't usually do that. The reason why I don't usually do that is because a lot of the books that I've bought from authors there's at least 2 anthology books they've done. And they're out of either print or you can't get them in at least a very good condition, which is that's my breaking point. Anything below very good is my breaking point. I won't even do a good when it seems to say that it's still good condition. It's still like some good conditions say the book is torn at this edge, it's coming apart, but then some will say this item is in good condition, and whenever it says like it's almost like it's used very good, but maybe there's one small blemish on it that makes it good, or they say it's used good. It's very confusing for used goods. I don't do that. I don't fuck with that. But yes, Put the Book Back on the Shelf, Belle and Sebastian anthology, and I'm gonna do this twice. We'll do the artwork. You know what? Go for 4 times. because it's done by all different authors and artists. Some noteworthy names are Mark Ricketts, of course, Rick Remender, and Andy Weston. Watson? Weston? I don't know. He's there. Sure. Alright. Whoever did the Sunburn book for that's Andy Watson. And he spells his name with an I. Well, not he spells, but his name is spelled with an I at the end instead of a Y. And for the longest time, I thought it was a girl. The longest time, and then I found out it was a guy. I was like, oh, well, that was a surprise. That was a pretty big twist. Now this next one is one that the part of the premise does not interest me at all, but then the second part does, and then that's why I bought it. And that is Lovesick, written and drawn by Luana Vecchio. This is the most recent image trade I have. This just came out this week, in fact, on Wednesday. And I do this thing where I'm like, why did you get this book? This book was pretty expensive, and you got it for a stupid reason. You could have gotten these books instead. And yeah, I could have, but it was also one of those things where I could not shut that part of my brain off that I wanted this book, so I got it. Collects 1 through 7, and here's some new artwork. Now, the book is about, it's like you could go online, it's a dark web where there's extremely violent and sexual junk, and actually it says it's an erotica, I believe, here. Yeah, it's a horror erotica, that's the genre to give you. And erotica doesn't completely interest me. It's kind of one of those, don't get me wrong, I'm not a prude, I am not a prude, just ask anyone who, I honestly, ask my cousin, I make, like, no, there's no, I think for me, it's just, I think it was like BDSM kind of thing too, like that kind of stuff, that just kind of, it makes me a bit uncomfortable, and and that's not the reason I wouldn't pick it up, it's kind of, that premise isn't interesting, that's all there is to it, but it's not, it's these people are paying for, like, this, like, insane, grisly shit, and, kind of one of those books, and again, it did some kind of interesting, and it did get poor reviews for the first, like, 2 or so issues. Maybe it was just the first issue, but then it got much better reviews as it went along on Comic Book Roundup, and I believe Goodreads give a good rating too. According to Amazon, it's basically a 4 out of 5. I'm just gonna round it. It says 3.9, but I'm gonna round it up to a 4. So, Lovesick, 1 through 7. It's also a mini series too, so it's done. So this next up is the one that I had said, oh, it's the original graphic novel, but it turns out Red City collects 1 through 4 of Red City. And I hope it's on the volume 2. It shouldn't be. Science fiction crime book. Oh, it says it right back. It says it right on the back. Nice. I'm just looking up real quick, because that's going to bug me. I'm not looking that up if there's a volume 2. Oh, by the way, all the books are shipped, which is awesome. Amazon. Red City. Oops. Red City. I'm expecting a book tomorrow. If all goes well, it'll come in. But I didn't want to do it tomorrow because tomorrow they're having a party at my house, and we have a bunch of kids at the house, and I cannot predict when they're going to come in. Daniel Corey. Daniel. Why didn't I just do this the shortcut way? Let's do the shortcut way. My comic shop. So, Red City is done by Daniel Corey, and ironically enough, there is a you'll see soon why I say ironically enough. There is a 10-page storyline for Moriarty at the end. Okay, yep, this is 1 through 4. Neat. 4-issue miniseries by Daniel Corey with artwork done by Anthony DeSeaway. And I believe it's 2 this time. Yeah, this one's 2. And then Mark DeSantos, the first few pages. Actually, no, it's not. Who does the... That's here. It says pages 4 to 50. Oh, okay, it starts on page 4. Okay, so, sorry, first few pages, it's done by Mark DeSantos. And then the last few pages, it's Anthony DeSeaway. Now, I'll show the artwork. And I'm just going to show it. Even though it's 2 artists, I'm going to just show 1 page. I can only do. I wonder how like good that is for how helpful that is for people showing the artwork like that. I know what I should start doing. I may start doing. I may do that for my complete July. What month it was for my complete July haul. I might just do it like not not selfie, but the other. No, they'll flip the camera around so you see like an aerial shot, if you will. That's what a lot of people do, and it seems to work better. But I don't know how to hold the thing, how to hold the phone, and how to film it at the same time. The next two books are the same series, and as I said, and you probably already know what they are if you've been following along, and that is Moriarty Volume 1 and Volume 2, collecting all 9 issues of the series. Volume 1 collecting 1 through 4, and Volume 2 collecting 5 through 9. And this is all written by Daniel Corey, and the artist this time is Anthony Sudue. And here is the... Now this has to do with Moriarty. It's like 20 years after says Shakespeare. 20 years after Sherlock Holmes it dies, and it's like on the cusp of World War I. That's on the way, or it's already happened. I believe it's on the way. Like it's like, you know, happening, almost gonna happen. And kind of one of those kinds of books, an adventure kind of comic. It sounds very interesting, and I got Volume 1. I would actually have gotten both volumes for $8.99, but I did not want to sacrifice paying for a used very good when the used like new was only a few dollars more. Then we have Moriarty, because Volume 2 is also like new. Volume 2, so it's Moriarty Volume 1, The Dark Chamber collects 1 through 4 of Moriarty. Then Volume 2, Moriarty Volume 2, The Lazarus Tree collects 5 through 9 of Moriarty. The next two is also the same, also one series, and that is Odyssey by. Okay, I think I try something right. It's Odyssey written by Matt Fraction with artwork by Christian Ward, collecting all 10 issues, not all 10, because there's 12, and not all 12 issues, but all 10 issues of the series. Issues 11 and 12, I've gotten a hardcover. I believe that's what Amazon says, at least. They have gotten it wrong before, but you would think they would have updated it by now. This is a pretty old series. And then either get it on a hardcover, or you can get you can do what I did and get 11 and 12 on the Kindle. So Odyssey Volume 1, Off Too Far Ithaca collects 1 through 5 of Odyssey, and then Volume 2, what is it? Sons of the Wolf. Volume 6. Look at this font. Like, really? I know you're going for an aesthetic here, but that's bad lettering. And then Volume 2, Sons of the Wolf collects 6 through 10 of Odyssey. And then I'll show you guys the artwork, and then tell you what it's about. This one is basically a science fiction retelling of Homer's Odyssey. Hence the name Odyssey. Oh, he's in this fucking whistle. I hope you guys do not hear that, because that for me is already annoying. So hopefully the background doesn't. So how would it be? 1848. It's like kids just do. I swear to God, kids just do things just to make noise. Like they don't. Like they have like an OCD, like not OCD. There's something in their mind that tells them they gotta make noise, and if they don't, they'll explode. Like, literally, like self-combust. So that was Odyssey. I said what it was about. Oh, and so what I usually do. So I usually, in the past, what I've been doing is something like Matt Fraction. I know I will not be able to. At least I'm pretty sure I will not be able to get everything that's written by him, because some of this stuff is like completely out of print. Like even the third-party sellers on Amazon are overcharging you because it's out of print, and they can do that because it's out of print. Hey, we might as well make a few extra dollars. We still have a few of these comics left in stock. Well, no, we'll sell them. It's a good series. So when that happens, I usually say to myself, let's just get these books. And I was going to get these books a long time ago. This is basically, for the most part, the comic haul where I wanted these for a long time, and now I'm getting them. save for a couple. I mean, I hate to say it, but so like something like Lovesick, I just found out this week it was the series, and had I not known that, I would have gotten another book that I wanted for a really long time. But whatever, I'll do it next week too. Next month too, or if I get lucky. But it's way too close to the end of the month for me to justify buying a book that's not going to come in until at least 1 week after. So that was that. That was Odyssey. I said how many issues were collected. I told you guys who the artist was. Told you guys what it was about. Showed off the artwork. Told you guys about the missing issues. Told you guys about my stupid rules I have. Alright, now moving on to the 5 Fists of Science. It's one of the new ones that you've not seen yet. Written by Matt Fraction with artwork by... That was seen part 2. Written by Matt Fraction with artwork by Stephen Sanders. This has to do, it's a true story actually, and it has to do with Mark Twain in 1899 and Nikola Tesla. There goes the whistle again. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to record a video and see. Let's wait, stop doing it now. Yeah, it's going to stop doing it now, isn't it? Alright, so I'll wait. So yeah, that's 5 Fists of Science, and this looks to also be an original graphic novel too. Nothing about it collecting issues, whatever. No, it's not. It was set back on here. And it still really makes me mad. So 2 of these books, this one I just noticed it, has a price tag on the back. And I'm not sure if I paid $7 for this. Now, some slight blemishes here, which that reminds me. This is more of a used very good to me. But I paid for used like new. And this isn't really used like new. Some shelfware, to be fair, they did say that it would be shelfware, but I think more shelfware, like, there's a little scuff here. But it's not a deal breaker. It's not, like, something to be overly concerned about and ask for a refund, because, honestly, I got the best price. Although, technically, I don't think I did. But, what ifs. The next 2 is a series that... Yeah, I knew about that. The next 2 is a series that I wanted for a little while. So, for my birthday, I got a series called Gasolina, a 3-volume series that that dealt with drug cartels and also an alien invasion. Now, I said to myself, this is the only Image comic book that deals with a drug cartel. And then I looked it up about a week or 2 ago, and it turns out, no, there's another series that deals with drug cartels, and that is Gunning for Ramirez. So I looked it up and I found out this one with drug cartels is a series out right now. It deals with drug cartels. I'll have to get that when it comes out, whenever it comes out, because it just came out with issue 1. So at least, like, what, 5 months from now, at the very least. It's 5 issue series, and comics come out for the most part once a month, unless they get lucky and can do it bi-weekly. But no, it's mostly on average per month. Now, this is also an original graphic novel, so this one looks very, like, interesting. It was, basically, the blurb here is perfect. What if the deadliest assassin in all of Mexico, a man with dozens of kills to his name, was actually a vacuum repairman in Arizona? And where the, drug cartel comes in is that, I believe it's the villain is the drug cartel. It's part of a drug cartel. He deals with drug cartel. I know there's drug cartel in this book. Now, I'm going to test something here. So this shows how... This is going to show my naivete of how I think I know how things work. Now, I'm not sure if I do the QR code, you guys can do it on your phones and point towards the camera. Let's test it out, though. I'm going to give you guys a few more seconds, and then I will put it away. Do a little bit closer. So we shall see if that works. But it also just, like, in general, sounded interesting to me. Now, the only thing I was kind of a little bit annoyed about was the artwork. I felt it was too cartoony for dealing with what it deals with, you know, the subject matter it deals with, but, I mean, I've gotten books in the past where I haven't liked the artwork, I've been a little skeptical about the artwork going in, so I'm not going to stop here, so to speak. And he's also written and drawn by Nicholas, it's a foreign name. It's a foreign man, so it's a foreign last name. Nicholas Petrudish. This guy. Butcher Mouse. Like mouse, as in the comic book mouse series here. The whistle's gone. As mouse, as an M-A-U-S mouse. Because you just, honestly, take away the X and yeah, it's mouse. And then got volume 2, much thicker than volume 1. With a little bit more blemishes here and there, but this is such a small blemish. To those of you guys who don't know me, I am really annoying about my comics. Like, this little itty-bitty blemish is enough to drive me over the edge. I don't know why. Like, I just think it's gonna fall apart if I read it too many times, whatever. But that's not true. But yeah, it looks very interesting. I'm glad I picked this one up. Honestly, this is probably, not only is this the highest rated series I got this month at a 4.3 out of 5 on Goodreads, but it's also probably the one I was most excited to get once I found out I could get it. So, the reason why I was able to get so many, because there's 5 more books coming in, for a total of 21. The reason why I was able to get so many was that, number 1, I got lucky. And 2, I got, all these I got from, except for 2, I got from third-party sellers. And all but one of them I got them at a discount. So, all those add up. And also, I got a gift card. So, and that's how I was able to get Guiding for Ramirez, and then one other book I'll be showing off pretty soon here. And then Lovesick, I was just able to get it, even though I only had 20 bucks in my wallet right now. I was able to get that when I had 40 bucks in my wallet, and I guess half that. Because technically I spent half. 3 more books. First up we have Stealth. Not first up, next up we have Stealth. Stealth, written by Mike Costa, with artwork by Nate Bellegrade, and colors by Tamara Bonvillain. And I always was, because I've seen Tamara's name a lot recently, and I always say Bonvillain in my head, because it's so close to being that it's like, yeah, it's Bonvillain, you know, it's kind of one of those jokes to make. It's kind of like, can't really do anything to do with names. But this deals with a superhero whose father is dying of Alzheimer's. It sounded very interesting, and you cannot get this on Amazon. It's out of stock on Amazon, and I swear to God, it happened in a matter of days. Because I looked at this book, I had seen this book because I just started looking up Image Comics, just kind of looking at what they had, browsing on Amazon, and then it said then that it was, I swear to God, it said in stock, and that was like let's say it was a month ago, and a week later it was out of stock. Now I'm not about to imply that it's so popular that everyone's buying it. No, it's probably just having to go out of stock on Amazon. Now there's a blemish here that I really hate. Again, it's a really small blemish. It's not going to affect the reading of the book at all. In fact, if I hadn't noticed that, I'd be none the wiser until I finished the book and saw it. 1 through 6, by the way, is collected in here, and I'll do the artwork. I'm going to show you off the artwork. So there you go, superhero comic. Now, superhero is the one genre where I am more skeptical to get a superhero comic, just because there's so much of it out there. It's like, well, and I'm kind of weird about that too. So during Christmas TLDR, I thought I had gotten every Image Comic fantasy book. I didn't. Found that out, and it was really annoying because I got most of what I got for Christmas was fantasy genre, and then before then I had gotten more. So I probably, like, let's say I thought I had gotten 30% or 40% before Christmas, and I got the last remaining 60% on Christmas. I know it's a really stupid thing, but I'm weird like that. Next up is Sovereign, fantasy comic, but from Image Comics, written by Chris Robertson with artwork by Paul Mayberry. Now, I subscribed to this guy called Yellow Flash, you probably heard of him, and he was doing a review of Man-Eaters. And he kept saying how disappointed he was in Image for not greenlighting a series called Sovereign, and instead greenlighting Man-Eaters. Ironically enough, there is a series called Sovereign. Now, I'm almost 100% sure it's not the same Sovereign he was talking about. I don't think it is. I don't think what happened was Image Comics decided to publish the series after long last, or they heard him, or even better, they saw his video. But this has to do, it's a horror comic, fantasy comic, collected 1 through 5 of this series. And it's, like I said, it's very inspired by Game of Thrones. And it's actually an epic fantasy and a tradition of Game of Thrones. And it's like a world that once knew gods and demons and magic, and which all those are returning, so like, kind of like a myths are coming back to life kind of thing. It sounded very interesting, and it's definitely not the Sovereign I was thinking of. but I still want to. And Chris Roberts, I like his writing. I believe, if I'm right, the British Paranormal Society was written by him. I don't think there's a sequel to that series out already. And I read that first issue, and I really liked it. And I'll be getting that next time at my local library. Last, but certainly not least, we have Patrick Kindlin's Stringer. The artwork here is done by Paul Tucker. And I think colors by Wallace Ryan or letters. Yes, letters. Hand-lettered. That's pretty cool. And this is the aforementioned drug cartel book I was talking about. And this has so much in common with the Clint Eastwood movie The Mule, that it might as well be a adaptation of the movie. There's obvious differences. Like, it's this, the guy's a tennis player. It takes place in '83. And I don't know when The Mule takes place in, but The Mule has to do with a drug deal, not drug dealer, some old guy dealing drugs for drug cartels and that kind of thing, and because he had to, you know, make money, make ends meet, and it seems to be almost what this is similar to. At least similar enough to if you like this comic, like the movie, and vice versa, or be interested in it rather. Probably it's up your alley. But yeah, it's Tennis Circus drug dealer, and he finds out that everyone's after him now. Whoops! It's kind of what the plot synopsis said on the Amazons. And that, as they say, is that I'm gonna go eat now. It's been like 5 minutes. That's it.